Hello everybody! In today's video, we're going to be unboxing the Bachmann HO scale Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends Tidmouth sheds. So these sheds are a 5-bay shed set, kind of semicircular here as you can see on the box. And therefore the storage of the locomotives and servicing of the locomotives, in real life that's how they would be used. And what we're going to do is we're going to pair this up with the Bachmann Easy Track turntable. So we're going to unbox the turntable in a separate video, but we're going to start with the sheds. We'll unbox it, show you what they look like and how they go together, and then we'll unbox the turntable, and then in a third video we'll assemble it all together and test it and see how it looks and runs. So why don't we go ahead with the unboxing and let's get started. So we bought this we bought these sheds off of trainz.com. That's trainz.com, and these went for $138.99. We buy a lot of things off of trainz.com. We've probably mentioned that in other videos. Trainz.com seems to be more of a consignment type of website where people sell off their collections and things like that. So you got to kind of watch your prices on there. The price of the Thomas stuff we bought here, the turntable and these sheds, the condition of these were factory new, and the price was actually very comparable to places like Amazon and Train World and things like that. So we went ahead and bought those off of trainz.com. Alright, packaging looks pretty good so far. Alright, everything seems to be packaged nice in plastic on the inside. We've got a little instruction manual here. Yep, everything's packaged very nicely. Looks like some of the either side or back walls. Those are the door bays. I don't know if you can see it in the glare of the light, but yeah. And those look like the vents on the top. Might be a couple of maybe an outbuilding or something. Not really sure, but we'll unpackage it and be sure. Alright, I think it comes with a little bit of a turntable, like a manual turntable. I'm not sure. We'll look at the instructions and see what happens here, but yeah. And it looks like the pieces of track there. Okay, we'll have to unwrap that and figure out what that is. Those might be little track ends. And then the track is fastened to the bottom of the box, so we'll unfasten that and pull that track out. Alright, let's get everything unpackaged from the plastic and all that, and we'll lay it out, and we'll get back to you in just a couple minutes.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Alright, so here is the Tidmouth sheds, all out of their plastic packaging here. So kind of moving right to left here. We've got the track pieces, and then we've got what looks like the back walls right there. We've got the little, zooming the wrong way here, the little roof cupolas there, ventilation, and then the roof sections there. We've got the sidewalls, we've got the bay doors, and then we've got the rafters and things like that that kind of hold the whole structure together. And then way over, those two green pieces over there, those look like sidewalls for the turntable. I don't think they go with the shed per se. I think they're just accessories to go with the turntable. So we're going to go ahead and put this together, and then we'll show you the final product. There's no glue necessary for this, so it should just kind of go together by you know, inserting pieces into it, kind of locking pieces in to each other. So yeah, it'll probably be a little bit tedious for us to do this on camera, so we're just going to do it off camera, and then we'll come back and show you the final product and tell you how it went. All right, so where we started putting it together is we started with the doors, and then putting the doors into these rails right here that run along the floor. So that seems to be the place to start, and basically what you do is you slide the door walls here kind of by the hinges right down into these kind of slots on those long plastic pieces there. So we'll turn this around so you can see the other side. Everything's still pretty flimsy at this point, so. But so far so good. Everything is fitting nice and snug. So it's on to the next step. Okay, so the next step was to put these back walls and slide them into the back of these long pieces that go along the ground. And they just kind of slide right in. Into each one. They went in really easy. Probably the doors were more tedious just because the doors are so delicate, you don't want to break anything off, and everything is still unstable. There isn't like a solid platform now like there is here to put those in. So that was a little bit more tedious, and I always worry that we're going to break off some delicate plastic piece, but so far so good. But anyway, let's kind of zoom in on those connections there so you can see those. So you can see how they just kind of slide in there on either side. And they're slotted, they're kind of shaped so that they only fit a certain way, which is kind of nice. I always like that because you can't really screw it up. And by the way, like I said before, you're not gluing here, so there's no permanent damage if you glue something you shouldn't glue. All right, so with the back walls done and the bay doors kind of in place, let's go on to the next step. The next step was to put in these 4 rafters into the roof. Now those rafters are marked so that you know like what direction they should be facing in up and down, and then which end belongs at the front of the shed and which end belongs at the back of the shed, so they're pretty clearly marked. Yeah, and they just drop right into place, and they kind of hold, they don't kinda, they actually do, hold the wall sections that they're straddling together. So you can, hopefully you can kind of see that connection there. Maybe turn that a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. And they're pretty snug. They hold pretty good. So yeah, things are moving right along. All right, so the next section to go in is the sidewalls here. And the sidewalls are the walls with the little red window there. Now those are the only parts that are kind of held in by these extra little corner blocks that you have to insert. So I'm going to zoom in on one of those. Okay, so there is one close thing that you're going to have to pay attention to on the instructions, and that's when you put these sidewalls in. They attach to the back wall and let me just move my camera, and kind of the front wall. Actually, it's kind of a gate section, but consider this, we'll just consider this the whole wall, with these little blocks here that are slotted and are designed to fit each corner. So it matches the angle and all this. So in the back, the 2 blocks in the corners here, top and bottom, those 2 are marked A, and they're the same ones. They just kind of, you just turn them upside down, you know, between the top and the bottom, and they're the exact same, and they fit that. But then when you go into the front, it's a different angle and a different, you know, so it fits together a little bit different. And the blocks on the little blocks that assemble the walls here are labeled C at the top and B at the bottom. So you have to make sure you get that right. It's all on the instructions, but it would be easy to miss if you were just kind of thinking that all the kind of little connector blocks are all the same. And then on this end here, let's see, what do the instructions say? The top block is D and the bottom block is also B. So the two corners on the bottom are B, and then the top is C on the far side, and then D here on this side. If you were looking directly at the front of the shed, this would be the right side. So I'll just orient you again a little bit there to show you. So anyway, the sidewalls, they went up good. It just took us a few minutes to kind of figure out the numbering on the little connector blocks that hold the sidewalls to the back walls and the front walls. And so again, all in the instructions. Just don't get thrown off by it, that's all. All right, on to the next step. The next step was to lay down the roof panels. So there are 5 roof panels, 1 over each door, and they're kind of pie-shaped, roughly pie-shaped. So there's no particular order to put these on. They're just, they're all the same shape. So just lay them in there. And just remember that on those little roof rafters that we put on in one of the previous steps, the roof panels, or the little rafter goes between the roof panels. So you should see that rafter in between. So those went on super easy. They just lay in there. There's no snapping in or anything like that. They've got like little corners on each of the corners, front and back, and they just slide into place and they fit nice. So yeah, the last step is just to put on the little details. All right, for the last little bits to put on here was just these little details here. So we have the 5 chimneys over each bay door, and then we have the little, I guess it'd be like cupolas, for ventilation at the top of the shed. So those look pretty cool. And the only parts we have left is the little house here, which I think will go on a turntable. I think that's a turntable accessory. And then you've got these little side pieces here for a turntable. And then of course we have the track over here to the right, the little 5 pieces that will go into the turntable. We're not going to do anything with those until we assemble the turntable. So yeah, this is it was a pretty easy project to put together. Like I said, the only thing that we just did a double take on, or had to really think through, was those little corner blocks on the corners. And they weren't hard. It was just being aware that they're all lettered and go in a specific position. So yeah, so not too bad. One little detail here: these doors, they're spring loaded, so if you push them in, they'll return to their position, and then if you push them out, so when your trains are pulling out of the shed, they'll push the doors open and those doors will spring right back into place. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're not bad either. So yeah, not bad. This is a nice looking shed. It was easy to put together, and it's really good looking. I think it's going to be pretty solid. You didn't have to glue. You could glue if you want to. You can glue this whole thing together if you wanted to. And I would think that over time, as maybe some of the structural pieces wear out, like the corner brackets or the little slots where everything kind of fits into place, those may wear out over time, and you may want to glue those or reinforce them somehow. Those panels are just, the roof panels are just kind of sitting in there. At some point, maybe they'll, come out of shape or whatever, and you'll want to glue them down more firmly over time. But for now, we're not going to glue anything. We're just going to leave it the way it is. So anyway, so that's going to be it for this video. That is the unboxing of the Bachmann HO scale, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends Universe Tidmouth sheds. And then next up is going to be the turntable. We'll unbox that. I don't know how much assembly there'll be with that, but what we'll do is we'll put it together and we'll put it with the shed here so you can see it all together. And then we'll try to put it into operation either in that video or a future video. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.